rather than their stories of the uninsured.
Gotcha.
So sorry.
Sure.
Okay, so I acknowledge that what you're citing is definitely true. I think that we are though making massive inroads. You know, I worked at the American Enterprise Institute for a while. Arthur Brooks' latest book, The Road to Freedom, was all about how we need to change our messaging. You see people talking about messaging in the pages of commentary. And while all of us, you know, sort of DC longs talk and ponder over messaging strategies, we actually have groups like Libra Initiative or Generation Opportunity or Campaign for Liberty who are out there trying to make those changes. I mean, there are so many younger people that I think sort of the establishment population are a bit unaware of that really do employ interesting messaging strategies. We have a long way to go. I mean, I'm keenly aware that we have a long way to go and we're very far behind. But I think it's something that we can be positive about.
Super briefly, I think you guys both hit the nail on the head. I think something that we, because we're conservatives, we're very, much individual, like a small minority is the individual. Sometimes we forget it, like, sometimes it's just nice to see someone that looks like you delivering the message. The messenger does matter. And so when I'm gonna be honest, like, I went to a frat party to talk about economic freedom. And it was really well received. I got tons of signups and people were asking if they could volunteer, but I didn't go like this. We always, you go to CPAC and you see like 16-year-olds wearing bow ties and blue blazers and
Anything wrong with that?
There's not anything wrong with that necessarily, but sometimes it would be nice to see a little bit of variety. Like, why aren't we bringing Big Boy to CPAC? He's an outspoken libertarian black rapper.
I would be absolutely for that. If you can make that happen, I would make that happen.
And it's fun too.
Yeah, it's fun, Big Boy, Daddy Yankee. Why aren't we bringing these people to come, be figureheads for us? So I guess I completely agree with everything that you guys just said.
Well, I think that might be true, except I would point out that the most popular candidate, Republican candidate of the 2012 cycle was a 76-year-old white Christian Texan whose biggest vice is chocolate chip cookies. The reason that he was because his message was what his message was, and he didn't. I can tell you, having worked as his aide for many years, that he doesn't change his message for an audience, and that's something that people do respond to is authenticity. I think that we can't get so slick and so concerned about messaging that we forget to give our message and not try to be too clever by half. And sometimes too, I think that Republicans' attempts to connect with the younger demographic, it can be inauthentic and it can be a little bit embarrassing, like that uncle who tries to be cool by telling you that I just heard that new Mumford and Nephews song on the radio yesterday.
By the way, it's Ron Paul. So, from what I could gather from it, I basically totally disagree with everything you said. In the point that you fall into a trap that I think a lot of people are falling into. That this is a Harvard Business School Procter & Gamble exercise on marketing. Okay, if we get frank lunch with words that work, we put a happy smiley face on it, we're better messengers, right? And tell stories that's going to somehow shift the country to our side. I think the country's there. And I think Ron Paul's campaign, I'm not a libertarian, okay? I'm a conservative. I'm not a libertarian.
They've used young people and they've used
by the way, his campaign had more young people than anybody. If you went on the campaign trail, it galvanized people. And by the way, what does Ron Paul do? He talks about analytics. This younger generation is very smart, and they know how to, and they can smell inauthenticity immediately, right? I don't think that's correctly, but they can smell it. They want what's real. And one of the things they want is real is they want the truth because they can kind of dig around and get it, right? And that's what Ron Paul's message, I think, galvanized people. And I'm not a libertarian because I could see it in a very raw, unvarnished, anti-market campaign. Got these people. And so I think our future lies with now taking that to working class people, to minorities, and really out into the community to show them what our values are and how we stand by those values. And we do not come here, right, to Washington and try to do something else. That we stand by them. And I think Ron Paul's ability to stand by that is what galvanizes. And I think you're starting to see people who are not libertarians like Ted Cruz, or people like Mike Lee, they see that, right? And that is what kind of Sarah Panel to a degree, Michelle Bachmann, they're seeing that those people galvanize followers. And I think I do not believe that we just think we have a marketing problem, right? That we can just fall in there.
I would like to address my question and comment to the issue of how you might combine a specific issue, the sort of intellectual thrust of the critique of conservatives and libertarians towards the statist regime and its continued development, and connecting with the Hispanic population. One of the things that I don't think is widely known is that the farm program has made corn so cheap in Mexico that it has made it impossible for the small campesino there to sell his corn for the tortillas that are made there. They're now driven out of business, and that is producing part of the massive migration to the north and then to the United States. On top of that, a lot of the people who are here has come without their families. And if you know something about that community, you'll find that there are men who live in sort of broken down basements and things and send their money back to their families and do not see their wives or children for years and years and years. So it seems to me that if you wanted to connect an attack on the bloated government that has this massive amount of money that goes to subsidize enormous corporations that sell through the PL 480 programs and others, U.S. products into these countries that drive masses of people out of work, and wanted to connect with young migrants in this country, you would show that you had compassion for the people by combining your understanding of their circumstances and the nature of a huge statist subsidized industries that have deprived them of their livelihoods in not only in Mexico but in Central America, and that PL 4880 program goes all the way down to Peru or other areas. So if you wanted to reach and show in an intellectual way and also a compassionate way, it seems to me this is just one program you could target that would help you speak to the Mexican and other Central American populations that are here, and then you would sort of meet in one blow your issue of showing that I care, along with pointing out where the United States itself is at fault in producing a problem it now wants to build borders with additional billions of dollars to keep the people from coming to the United States, that you're depriving them of their livelihood abroad. So I do think that there is a possibility to combine the signal that you care with an illustration of the nature of the state that pretends to care, but is actually depriving them of their wives, their children, and their families. Because most of these people do not want to leave their villages and their homes. They would like to have a livelihood. And so I would just say that we could do this with issue after issue that would show that we do care about these people, and it is linked to the problem of the gross bureaucratic statism that is suffocating this country and many of our friends.
That's pretty well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
I think obviously you hit the nail on the head, and you literally laid out almost step by step a lot of what Libre work is doing. I would encourage you all to check out our website, some of our YouTube videos. We issue statements.
Libre.org?
The LibreInitiative.com. It's long, I know. But the problem that we're running into is that not enough of us are doing exactly what you just said. The problem is that we
Well,
just
part of this could be an educational program where you would link this and teach this to the young people and have them provide the message.
what we're actually doing, and I don't want this to become a Libre infomercial, but so I actually run the youth department for Libre. We actually have PowerPoint presentations, we have videos, we go in and we talk to Latino-based student groups, we talk to Latino young professional groups, we talk to Latino working groups in the communities around the country, and we sit down and we actually break down, we use so many buzzwords in this area, like sound money supply, who knows what that is? But you touched on that topic in that story you just gave about sending money back to his family. So we break down these topics, property rights, limited government, sound money supply, and we put it into a relative term that they understand how it affects their life on a daily basis, and then how economic freedom, how liberty-minded individuals and liberty ideas would remedy those problems. So we are working to do that. I mean, we're only 2 years old, but that's exactly what we're doing when we're going into these communities. I was just at Texas A&M. We met with Hispanic Networking Summit, met with a bunch of the Latino fraternities there, and we're getting them involved. We're getting them to volunteer with Libre to then help host events in Bryan, Texas, in College Station, Texas, and the local areas. And we're trying to redo that in all of the areas and states that we're currently in.